do everyone a service.
I wouldn't say we're being difficult by asking you a question.
Well, yeah, you've been problematic and you've been difficult with us. And you're clearly anti-police.
Greetings from the Audit Assessor. Here, we dissect interactions between the general people and law enforcement. To help you understand your rights, their obligations, and the boundaries, we look at the law, behavior, and context. MB Media UK is the source of this video. Make sure to subscribe to his channel by clicking the link below. In this episode, MB Media arrives at East Midlands Airport with authorization to snap pictures. However, airport employees were still able to report it to the police. Because the camera made individuals uneasy, the officers arrive already searching for an excuse to pin them, demanding information they had no right to. They treat legal photographs as suspicious activity and continue to press long after it's clear that no crime has been committed, rather than inquiring as to why staff had contacted them in the first place. The conclusion only serves to exacerbate the situation since they resort to barring MB Media from the airport when the law offers them nothing.
Why are you here? Who gave you permission? And what are you doing? Hey, I'll treat that decent question.
You're obliged to answer any of those questions.
Well, you're on a private property photograph. We're asking the question just to see why you're here.
Isn't this a public footpath?
This is a private airport.
Yeah, but is this a... Yeah.
So to take it, you should have permission from them. If you have, that's fine.
Yeah.
So you don't expect.
Not being difficult, fellas. We're just checking who you are.
Because we've had 3 phone calls today, and we thought on the 3rd one we need to come and ask.
3? Wow.
What's the hostility for, mate? We're being civil with
You're
you.
not being hostile?
You are, mate. It's a security matter. We're checking you out. We're being overly polite, and you've clearly got no problem with us. So what's the issue?
I asked you if we were...
NB Media promptly generates the email attesting to their authorization to take pictures at the airport. However, the cops continue as if permission makes no difference, rather than viewing that as a chance to find a solution. They even claim that they are antagonistic. Even so, the video depicts individuals only defending themselves and posing entirely legitimate queries. The most significant shift occurs when photography is connected to terrorism. Officers have a right, of course, to stay vigilant in the vicinity of sensitive locations. However, suspicion must be founded on actual facts rather than just collecting pictures. Before using their authority under Section 43 of the Terrorism Act of 2000, police must have a reasonable suspicion that an individual is a terrorist.
Have you got details?
So, it's how you speak to people.
They've got permission for the airport.
No. Have you got details?
No, not here.
Can we get the details? Can you speak to the duty manager?
Yeah.
Ask him.
Look, it was Lynn Groves, wasn't it, on that thing? We gave it.
Yeah.
Speak to the duty manager.
Do you suspect us of committing any crime?
I suspect of you that you've not got proper permission. And
It's just shown him.
if I speak to the duty manager and they say they don't want you on the airport, we'll get you banned from the airport.
Wow.
So
Have you got any identification on you, fella?
I haven't got any on me, no.
What's your name, buddy?
Am I obliged to give it you?
crime would be criminal.
It would help with
I'm
our
not being
inquiries, yeah, 'cause
awkward,
we don't want to
but,
make it any more difficult for you.
Right.
So I just want to check you out in our system to make sure you aren't any sort of security threat to the airport or us. So it's up to you.
Yeah.
At this stage you don't, but if we escalate things, then you might not have a choice. And
I'm going to instigate that, yeah.
so,
Because
what's your name, mate?
Right.
Despite being informed right away that MB Media was already authorized to take pictures of the airport, his first worry is whether the cops obtained their information without ever providing an explanation of the legal authority that allowed them to do so. Then, despite the fact that he has been summoned over because that permit has already been produced, he says he believes they do not have the necessary authorization. Suspicion must be grounded in real facts rather than just disregarding anything that contradicts your preconceived notions. When questioned about if any crimes have been committed, none are found. Rather, the topic of barring them from the airport comes up right away. That conveys a lot. The sergeant seems to be looking for the easiest way to stop the meeting rather than addressing the facts in front of him. However, are we suspected of anything by the public?
But are we suspected of anything?
From a public footpath, a member of the public can take
We're not suspected of anything. What we're saying is, have you got the right permission to be
It's just shown
filming
you
on a security
Yeah, it's just shown you the permission.
restrictive area?
taking it.
Well, no, we've seen an email from a female that we don't know.
Right.
She's not management at the airport, as far as we're aware, and you need it from
And I'm
management.
asking you a question.
Where does it say that anywhere in there is a restricted area?
Lots of places. If you actually look
Can
on
you
the
show- could you show- could you show me?
can you let me finish?
If you can show me a...
If you let me finish, no, it's you that's interrupting me, and I will get ratty if I want to get ratty. All the perimeter fencing, every 20 metres has got security signs on it. All right. And as far as I'm concerned, take your details. Why are you recording? No, we haven't got your details.
Yeah, you're done.
Since the initial argument isn't standing up, the police appear to be modifying it. They now argue that since the authorization did not originate from airport administration, it is invalid. However, the airport must find an internal solution to that problem. It doesn't always result in a criminal offense or a police matter. Even though MB Media is standing on what they claim to be a public walkway, the situation gets even more complicated when they start talking about private property. If it is true, the officers ought to have determined the precise location of the boundary before assuming anything. Despite all of this, they are still requesting personal information without being able to pinpoint the legal authority that calls for it. Officers in England and Wales are not allowed to only demand a person's name and address. They must be able to cite a particular applicable statutory authority.
All right. Do you suspect me of committing a crime?
I've said my piece, and that's all I'm saying.
So that's a no. That's a no.
We'll take your details.
Do you suspect me of committing a crime?
We'll take your details, and we'll get the duty manager to say that you're not allowed to be on the airport.
This chap's refusing details, so.
Right, okay.
I know yesterday was
Is there any reason why you're
being difficult, mate? I'm asking you civilly. Because we were overly polite with
I'm
you.
standing up for my rights, that's all. If I'm not obliged to give you details, then I
So
won't.
police officer in uniform will come along after we've had a complaint of how you spoke to people. You're in a high security area of an airport. The current threat nationally is severe. We don't know you from Adam. We've come along, asked you what you're up to, and straight away you had attitude with us. We didn't with you, and you've been... I don't understand why, if you've got nothing to hide...
Rather than confronting the straightforward question of whether a crime has been committed, he consistently avoids it, and goes back to requesting their information as if doing so somehow gives him the authority to enforce the request. He then shifts the discussion away from the legislation and toward getting rid of them in other ways by threatening to have the duty manager completely revoke their permission. The other officer doesn't make things any better either, implying that NB Media is being uncooperative or strange just because they refuse to provide personal data. However, using one's legal rights is not suspicious. Officers should be able to establish the statutory authority that mandates self-identification if they think someone is legally required to do so. Criticizing someone for posing the query merely draws attention to the officer's own shortcomings.
I wouldn't. If I was out photographing, which is your hobby, I get it. Why would you be difficult with the cops when they come along to check you out? If we're just trying to do everyone a service.
I wouldn't say we're being difficult by asking you a question.
Well, yeah, you've been problematic and you've been difficult with us. And you're clearly anti-police.
We've spoke to the manager. Lynn Groves is only a property officer. She's not even anything to do with the actual managing of the airport at all.
You've seen on the email.
We've spoke to the duty manager. You don't have permission. She's not going to give you permission. Okay. Obviously, we won't be doing our job. This is a security sensitive area. We won't be doing our job if we didn't check people who are taking photographs of security area. Yeah. Obviously, you've got some sophisticated equipment here. We don't know how close you can get stuff, but you can take photographs of. But we don't know that. I don't know who
I'm
you
just
are.
a member of the public with a camera.
But I don't know that.
It's no more complicated than that.
I don't know that.
There's nothing outstanding on me.
The fact that MB Media questioned the officers indicates that they had run out of appropriate responses. Instead, they begin criticizing his attitude. Calling someone challenging, troublesome, or anti-police is a simple way to get around the reality that they still haven't demonstrated a legal obligation to provide information. The airport may be able to revoke authorization through an appropriate authority, but it is a private property decision and not a way for the police to get addresses and names more quickly. The risk that withholding information will affect the outcome is what makes this so bad. Evidence of an offense or a clearly defined authority should be the basis for police action, not if an individual makes the officers' lives easier.
Are your photographs on a disc? We can have a look and see
Are
what
you known to the police?
It's just
sir?
on the card, on the memory
You
card.
said there's nothing outstanding.
Hey,
That's-
Look at what you've been taking.
Yeah,
If you hadn't been in,
and you've already said, you know, we're not obliged to give you any details, and you're not suspected of any crime. So
I'm asking the gentleman's first name.
just, yeah.
I'm not asking for his date of birth, or address. I'm asking.
No, I know that. Yeah.
Instead of saying,
Yeah.
"Oi,"
But he's speaking, shouldn't he? But you know, you don't suspect us of. You've seen what's on here.
Is there any reason why you're being awkward?
I'm not being awkward. I just know what's right and what's wrong. I've done nothing wrong today at all, other than ask you guys some questions.
Well,
I've asked you what section of 24 or whatever section of PACE I am legally obliged to give you more details.
well, like I said,
If you can't answer that, I'm going to walk off there now.
okay, well, you've got that, but obviously, the point I'm trying to say to you is, without getting your details, we can't ban you from the airport. Just find out in the bylaws whether we can get anything, because if we will...
I'll email them myself and ban myself.
Here, MB Media goes above and above. Despite having no legal responsibility to do so, they willingly display the cops the photos they took, dispelling any plausible suspicion that they were concealing something. However, when they pose the obvious question, what section of PACE requires us to give our details? The sergeant is unable to respond. That's significant because finding a legal power shouldn't be the most difficult aspect of the interaction if you're depending on it. Rather, the emphasis abruptly switches to identifying an airport rule that could perhaps resolve the issue after the fact. The officers refuse and keep looking for something that fits, even when MB Media offers to spare everyone the hassle by emailing themselves the notification. At this point, it seems more like they are searching for a law than they are enforcing the one they already have.
Pass on to the HO.
No, so that we can...
Just tell the HO.
All we need to do is just make sure...
And it won't be back. Right? And that satisfies them.
Well, look, I just want to make sure that you're not here for any other reason. Else I won't be doing my job. Do you go on holiday? Do you fly and things like that? I guess you do.
What guessing games are you playing? I don't play guessing games.
Why are you so obnoxious?
I'm not playing guessing games over what section.
Why are you so obnoxious?
Why can't you answer the questions?
All I'm just
what
trying
section of PACE applies? I'm lawfully
they spoke to you, mate, and they said you were difficult with them, so if you've got permission off them, why would you then be difficult with their staff who are just checking on
I
you?
explained my side of the situation, that we're on a public footpath. We've got an email.
This is not this here is not a public footpath.
Can I walk over with me to that footpath?
Well, I'm not going to walk anywhere because you're here at the minute.
Well, that sign applies.
So that's the only place you've taken photographs.
That sign.
They came from that direction.
That sign over there denotes a public footpath. Do you want to come on over and take a look at it?
Are we being detained at the moment?
We're asking questions. That's all we do.
I know.
You've done it. That's what's happening.
2 seconds, mate. Just spoke to my colleague. Those out his inquiries, please. So we're happy to police. You're no threat to us or the airport. That's all we're asking.
I'm not threat to you. Now, are we being detained? And if so, on what
We'll
grounds?
tell you in about 10 seconds. He's just been speaking to the airport duty manager, trying to get a full picture, and you'll get an update now.
Free to go.
You're free to go, but like I said,
Everything about how this encounter was handled is revealed at the conclusion. When the sergeant runs out of things to say, the discussion devolves into personal insults, with MB Media being called awkward and annoying for merely asking officers to defend their authority. Any supervisor would seem bad in that situation. Under criticism, police officers are supposed to maintain their professionalism. Just as worrisome is the uncertainty surrounding MB Media's freedom to depart. They understandably start to leave after being informed that the officers are merely asking questions when they inquire as to whether they are being held. It is only after the sergeant has spoken to the duty manager that another cop rushes after them, still unable to provide a definitive response. Restricting someone's movement shouldn't be contingent on how a phone call turns out. The airport has revoked authorization, therefore the only actual result is that MB Media is instructed not to return. As the occupier of private property, the airport has the right to make that decision, but it has nothing to do with whether the police had a legitimate reason to request information during the interaction. This video frequently confuses those two distinct problems. What ought to have been a simple discussion turned into an exercise in post-event reasoning. And that's precisely why when law enforcement officials rely more on authority than on the law, public trust declines.